Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Weather Sim forecast. And in today's forecast, we're going to be talking about another large storm that's going to be coming to the United States over the next few days. And this is going to bring a lot of impacts, as not only are we going to continue to see the potential for more severe weather across a pretty large chunk of the United States, but even as we get into next week and even the week after, which will be as we get towards the end of April, this is when we could be seeing even larger severe weather events than what we're seeing right now, which we will talk about in today's forecast, but we will also be talking about some other things, so make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video so that you guys know what to expect for the next 7 to 10 days. Let's first start off by going over what we have for today, and you guys can see that we do have a pretty large slight risk. This is a slight risk level 2 out of 5 threat for severe weather heading from central Texas all the way up here into the Great Lakes region. And main concern for today is going to be the potential for large hail, especially as we even have a hatched risk for large hail down here across central Texas, back up there into central and even a little bit there of eastern Oklahoma. Tornado threat, we do have a 5% risk for tornadoes down here towards Oklahoma too, which will be something to really keep an eye on closely, as a few tornadoes do appear likely today. And then for the wind threat, we do have a pretty large area that could see anywhere from 50 to even 60 mile per hour wind gusts around, so we will need to keep an eye on it closely. And since Oklahoma looks to be the area of biggest concern, we could also be talking about maybe an upgrade to an enhanced risk, which the SPC is going to update in just a little bit, so we'll see what it says once it comes out. But for right now, we're mainly just focusing on these areas down there towards Oklahoma and Texas, as those areas look to see the highest chance for severe weather. Once we get into day 2, this is when we continue to see the chances for severe weather, and we still even need to be watching even these areas up there towards the lower Ohio Valley too as well, as I do think those areas up there towards the lower Ohio Valley could also be seeing some severe weather. The reason why is because we got a threat for large hail up there, but even down there in Texas, we still got a hatched risk for large hail. Tornado threat, we do have a 5% risk for a few tornadoes down there in Texas. And then for wind threat, we do have a pretty large area that could see anywhere from 50 to even 60 mile per hour wind gusts, which will be something to really keep an eye on very closely, as this does look to be one of those, bigger concerns. And then once we get into Easter weekend, this is when we could also be talking about some severe weather across the central Mississippi Valley, so we will need to keep an eye on it closely, as I do think this could, potentially even be a larger severe weather event, especially if we end up seeing an upgrade to an enhanced risk, which will be something to watch for over the next couple of days as we do get a little bit closer. But for right now, this is, what it's looking like right now, and, this is still bad enough to where you may still need to cancel your Easter plans, so keep that in mind, as this, storm could bring some pretty big impacts once we get into Easter Sunday. If we talk about what we could see going forward, once again, we got some very strong energy around, which will continuously bring chances for showers and even thunderstorms, even once we get into Easter Sunday, as you can see. And then after that heads out, the next thing that we really should watch is going to be another big surge of energy, guys. We're talking potentially even a larger severe weather event than what we've seen right now, and you can, really just see how large of an area we could be talking about once we get into the end of April, like I said. So something that we really need to keep an eye on closely, like I said, as we're going to have very high moisture values. We could be seeing widespread 60 to even lower 70 degree dew points across a pretty large chunk of the Ohio Valley and Midwest. For wind shear, we could also be talking about some very strong wind shear too as well. You guys can see that, especially once we get into the lower parts of the atmosphere, we really start to see that wind shear increase across the lower Ohio Valley. So we will need to keep an eye on this, like I said, as this is going to be another big day to watch for. Now, once again, not something, we can say, gonna indeed happen, but it is still something that we must watch, as this is going to be another one of those big storms that could potentially bring chances for damaging winds, large hail, and even tornadoes. And then after that storm heads out, which will be at the end of April, I do expect our big severe weather trend to continue, so you guys should continue to be weather aware even once we get into May, but for right now, May is still uncertain. If we look at our total rainfall after all the storms that we just were talking about, we could be seeing that rainfall get really high. We could be talking about anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rainfall down there towards central Oklahoma, and as well as parts there of eastern Oklahoma, while areas in Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, even down there towards Arkansas, even northern Texas, back over there into Kansas, you guys could be talking about anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. So not nearly as much, but still, you guys are going to be under the gun for more severe weather as well. So you guys really need to be taking this seriously, and this could also be another one of those big flash flood events, but once again, not going to be nearly as bad as what we saw a few weeks ago when we had rainfall amounts over a foot. If we look at what we could see once we get into the future, we will also be tracking, once again, more severe weather, and I'm mainly just comparing this with the GFS model, as the GFS model even agrees with the Euro model that we could be seeing some larger severe weather events, since we're seeing some of those orange and red colors pop up, and then after that, doesn't really show nearly as bad of a severe weather threat, but still something to be weather aware about, and once again, something that we still really need to keep an eye on closely, as once again, damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes will still be possible, so make sure you guys are all taking this very seriously once again. And then if we also take a look at the precipitation with the GFS model, just for comparison, GFS model even shows it crazier than the Weather Prediction Center, as the GFS model is showing that we could even be seeing more rainfall. I don't really know if I agree with this, but it's definitely something to watch for, as the GFS model even showed pockets down there towards Oklahoma of maybe over a foot. That would definitely be enough to lead to a high risk of severe weather. And if we compare that with the European model maybe shows some high totals up to maybe around 6 inches, but it, once again, not nearly as bad as what the GFS model was showing. So we will need to keep an eye on it, but not really looking anything nearly as bad as what we saw a few weeks ago, once again, unless the GFS model really comes to fruition. Then this would definitely be another big one, since we may be seeing rainfall totals over a foot. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will continue to keep you guys up to date with the latest on this channel, and I really do appreciate your guys' support to help this channel grow. If we can reach 2,000 subscribers, that would be much appreciated, as I am planning on doing some big upgrades here on this channel, including a new camera, so that way my camera won't be as skippy, because you guys probably realized some of that during the videos. I also am planning on getting a new green screen. That will be another one of my upgrades, and maybe even a desktop as well. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and consider doing that. Make sure to also like today's video and share it with friends, family, or anyone you know on social media. I really appreciate your guys' support, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your weekend out there, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.